guys, I'm Rachel. Welcome to my wild backyard on this beautiful spring day. I'm headed down to the woodshed real quick to just grab a few logs for the fireplace and thought I would tell you about the soap that we're making today. So I rendered my own beef tallow for the first time, which I'm pretty excited about. And it was actually not that hard at all. And it kind of smelled like donuts to me. But I was searching YouTube and could not find anything anywhere on like sawdust in soap. So I wanted to make my very own and give it a try. And the only thing that I had found online was these two random dudes. I think they were woodworkers, and they did some melt and pour soap with some sawdust shavings in one of them and then Cheetos in the other for exfoliation. Anyways, I thought it was pretty hilarious, but I wanted to legitimately try putting some sawdust in soap, and I'm gonna call this man soap. So this soap is a celebration of all things manly. It's going to have some pine and balsam fir and cedarwood, some benzoin, some clove, just a very manly blend of essential oils. And then I'm going to sprinkle in some sawdust. I'm going to throw some goat's milk in with the lye solution. Imagine like this manly soap that smells like a pine shop mixed with donuts, and you will be a happy person. So yeah, let's get into this. I'm going to take you into the kitchen and we will make this soap together. I am all for not wasting if possible. So using beef fat and rendering it into tallow is the perfect way of using something up in soap that would otherwise go to waste. And I kind of feel like I'm tapping into my pioneer roots a little bit right now, because if you think historically, this is kind of how soap was even discovered and what it was first made out of anyways. It behaves decently well in soap, but sometimes it doesn't lather a ton, so that's why people will use it as a portion along with some other ingredients. So I just kind of made up and said I was going to do 40% in this recipe, and then the rest with olive oil and coconut, a little bit of avocado oil, and a little bit of castor oil. So I'll put the recipe and details down below for you guys. But all I did was take this out of the freezer and thaw it out, and I cooked it on low for a couple hours in the crock pot till everything was liquidy. And then I just strained it through the silicone strainer mesh bag. So basically that gets out all the chunks, and all you have left is just the fat. So that's when it is considered tallow. Once in a while you might have a little bit of something, a little bit of sediment or something down at the bottom. So sometimes people will melt it down and strain it twice, but I felt like it was good enough for this. And I'm going to save these little chunks that are left over from this and give it to our dog. So our cat's name is Kibbles, and our dog's name is Little Bit from Laura Ingalls Wilder, but we just call them Bits. They are quite the wild little team outside, so we call them Kibbles and Bits, of course. And I know he will enjoy this nice little treat. Here, dog. Here you go. Here you go.
What are you doing? What are you doing on that?
Feeding the doggy a little treat. So here's the tallow while it's still warm, and I thought I'd let it harden just to see if any sediment fell to the bottom, but it's looking pretty clean. So I went ahead and measured out. So we started out with 1.26 pounds and ended up with about 15.2 ounces. So I just calculated my recipe around that. And you guys, this smells so much better than store-bought stuff. For those of you that have maybe never made soap before, soap is basically made out of fats and sodium hydroxide, which is commonly called lye. It is caustic, so you have to be careful and use extra precautions when you're handling it, because the fumes can be strong and it can burn your lungs or your skin. So just be very careful, have protection, common lab safety handling. But you essentially measure out a good blend of oils, and you'd want to do your research or just find a recipe from my channel or someone else and make sure it's a good tried and true recipe first. Don't just start throwing oils together, because each of them has their own saponification value, or basically how much lye is needed to convert it into soap. So what I'm doing here is measuring out all of my fats, and then I'm going to melt them down in a double boiler system. And while that's melting down, I usually get all of the rest of my stuff ready to go. So here I'm just measuring out my essential oil blend, and I just wrote down how many ounces I wanted of each of these. I ended up with close to 2 ounces total for everything that I put in here. I would suggest going to eocalc.com if you've never made essential oil blends before, so you can find out some safe usage rates of how much you would need. And it's usually measured per pound of oils in your recipe as to how much essential oils you would then want to add in. And here is my frozen goat's milk. There's 2 different ways that you can generally add milk into a soap recipe. You can either freeze it and melt it down with your lye solution, so that way it doesn't accidentally burn or scald, or you can just melt it in straight with your oils. I've done both, but I tend to prefer using frozen water and frozen milk cubes for my lye solution, because it really helps cut down on the fumes and gets it to a good working temperature faster. So I went ahead and just added in my lye pellets, and as you can see, it just takes a few minutes, but that exothermic reaction starts heating up this whole thing and melts all of that down into a liquid pretty quickly. So it already gets to like 90 some degrees after just a couple minutes. So then it's already at a workable temperature. So that's why I don't do this right away, because then it's usually ready to go after my oils and everything else are prepped. For the design on this soap, I just decided it would be fitting to do some of it with charcoal. And so I just poured off part of that and mixed it with charcoal and did like a layered soap. But I really didn't have a plan. I figured men don't really care about fancy tops. They just care if it works. That's what my husband always tells me. So I simply just poured at an angle, glopped in the rest, and kind of called it good. I accidentally overmixed near the beginning because I wasn't sure if that sawdust was mixed all the way through, so it got thick really fast. I think these essential oils kind of accelerate trace anyways. I'm not sure which one of them it is. I know I've worked with all of these before, and I'm kind of suspicious it might have been the clove. And just for fun, I decided to put this in a little reverse remix for you, because this is my favorite part about watching soap, is just watching how they mix like that. Now, because of the goat's milk in this soap, that extra sugar does make soap batter heat up, and since my oils were already at 111 degrees, it ended up heating up quite a bit, and after I poured it, the top did crack a little bit shortly after I textured the top. So I was kind of bummed about that, but since this is kind of a rustic, manly look anyways, I know nobody's going to care that much. And here comes the sawdust. I basically just tried to sprinkle only the finest particles through this mesh strainer, but a few larger ones did end up falling in. But I think you guys can pretty much figure out what I'm doing from here, nothing too crazy. So I'll just play some music while you enjoy the rest of this. I probably haven't mentioned this before, but it's really hard to edit videos when I have 2 kids around, and usually the only time I can do it is when my son is sleeping. But he's awake now, running around with a pool noodle, and we're potty training. Okay, that is the mom life. We're making the best of it. needs music when you can listen to spring birds going crazy, right? Now, there's one more thing I forgot to mention. I feel like a while ago I read something about people not being allowed to use sawdust in soap because they were using it as a filler and then putting like way too much just to help stretch their ingredients further, and people didn't know how much they were getting and what they were exactly paying for. So I think that might be part of the reason why it's not really done anymore, if it was done. Let me tell you, as soon as I started cutting into this, it's like basically the smell of a wood shop just hits you. It's amazing. So the question is going to be, did I add too much sawdust? Is it going to be too scratchy, or is it going to feel nice? I mean, these were pretty smooth when I was shaking it through the strainers. Only like the finest little particles got in here. So yeah, I'm going to toss this over to my husband, Matt, and let him give these a test. Hey, Matt, catch.
What's it? What's this?
I want it.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Hey, Matt, catch.
What's this? Are you sure her laugh can't be in it?
Take 15. Hey, Matt, catch.
What's this?
Take 17. Hey, Matt, catch.
What's this?
Man soap. Give it a test.
What's in it?
It's got some sawdust. What do you think?
It's not too gritty. It works.
Well, perfect. I knew you were going to say that. What do you think of the smell?
Subtle.
Subtle? So I didn't put enough manly essential oils in it?
There's enough, but it's not too strong.
Okay. Does it actually work? Like, can you feel the sawdust?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's on the bar. I can't feel it on my hands. Maybe a little bit, but it's mostly on the bar.
All right, now try rinsing and see. Do your hands feel smooth like a baby's bottom now?
They are smooth.
Thanks. Well, that is it for this silly, sudsy, sawdusty adventure. Thank you guys for making it all the way through this and joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know what you thought of this. I think I'm going to cut these into some sample sizes and sell them on my Etsy shop if your curiosity is getting the best of you and you want to try one for yourself. I will see you guys in the next one soon.